Hi, I'm Ron Fain, and I'm with 100 Men Who Care, and we're a group of men who get together quarterly to make a meaningful contribution to local charities. Today, I have the honor of speaking with Bert Hunt, who is the director of House of Hope 316. House of Hope 316 has 3 homes in Prescott Valley, and their primary mission is to combat elderly homelessness. These adult independent facilities provide rooms, meals, and services in a loving and safe family environment. Bert, welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Ron.
Well, it's always good to see you. Tell us a little bit about your organization, House of Hope 316.
House of Hope 316 is housing for elderly that are low income that would be homeless otherwise. And more than just a bed and a meal, it's a home where they live as a family. They watch out for each other, take care of each other, help us with the daily chores, and gives them an area of responsibility, reduces our need for staff. And so they're very much a part of the picture. It is their home. And these are people that lose their housing for various reasons, and many of them never thought they would be homeless, yet they are without any other options. And they were fortunate enough to be able to offer many of them a place to stay.
So it sounds like your mission more specifically then is elderly?
I would say rescue elderly from being homeless.
Rescue elderly from being homeless. Okay. Wonderful. And those types of people that come into your place of service, usually that financially they have a need. And how do they end up? How do they arrive in this situation? Nobody plans for this. It just happens to them. And I'm sure you get all kinds of stories of how people arrive in this type of need.
We do. And it's very tragic. Most of them, as I said earlier, never thought they would be in this situation. They raised families, they worked jobs. And now all of a sudden, because of pricing of the housing, in some cases, the place they have been renting has been sold by the landlord because of the prices today that they can get for selling the property. And then there's nowhere for them to go. One of our more recent residents that joined us, 88 years old, lived in Prescott Valley, her and her husband, for over 20 years. Never thought they would be homeless. When he passed away, her income dropped. She got evicted. And when I first met her, she was busy finding people she could give all of her furniture to because she knew she couldn't take it. And her only answer was to buy a tent and go to a campground, thinking at her age she would camp for the rest of her life. And I was sitting with her the other day and talking because we were able to offer her a place to stay, and she joined us. And when we sat and did a little bit of the paperwork and I got ready to leave, she wouldn't let me leave without giving me a hug. I don't usually do that. I offered my knuckles to do a knuckle bump, and she said, "No, I got to give you a hug." She was so grateful to have a home where she was safe. And very quiet, very sweet. It's kind of like the grandmother everybody wished they would have.
Wow.
And now she's a part of our family at the House of Hope 316.
Wow. Tell me a little bit more, like how many people are you servicing now, and your structure, your homes, how does that work?
Well, remarkably, I look back on what we've seen God accomplish in the last 5 years through us and the team that has joined us throughout the valley, the area. We started with one house in 2019 with 5 residents. And now there's 3 houses that house up to 24 residents. So the growth has been remarkable. The need continues to grow. But we're delighted as I look back and see what God has accomplished, that we can offer a home to these people that don't have one.
And so you said you have 3 homes today. Mm-hmm. And when did you start?
Well, the story actually started in 2017. I was at a local restaurant, met a man named Don. Let me start with that. I met a man named Don and discovered as we sat and talked, he was having some difficulties. The manager of the restaurant knew me and asked me to go help. So as I sat with Don and talked, I discovered that he was homeless in his 80s, sleeping in his car, could barely walk. And within a day, he had a home. And I called some friends and asked if they would join me at my office once a week to pray about what if God were to use us to start providing houses for people who were becoming homeless in their later years. And so because of Don, this all started because of that one meeting. And the most recent house we got to our Something we've been praying about for a while is to stop renting our houses and eventually own a house for the financial security of the future of the ministry. And we saw that happen in October. We haven't paid for it yet, but it's ours.
Oh,
and
wow.
we are paying for it. And so we now own a home that houses up to 10 people along with the other 2 houses for a total of 24 people.
Hey, what a great success story. And you started this back in
First house opened in 2019.
2019. You have 3 homes in 4 years, 5 years time. You've really made some serious progress and support and help for community members who have found themselves in an unwanted financial situation.
It's actually a privilege to be able to help these people that are very, very sweet. Now they have a home and they're safe and they don't have to be afraid. I get a chance to sit down with some of them and listen to their stories and hear how grateful they are that they have a place to stay.
How does it work if I find myself unable to meet my bills and living alone and I'm not getting enough money from my Social Security? Let's say I'm getting $600 or $700 a month, which won't pay for rent or groceries or gas or anything. I'm sure that's probably pretty typical of a person that you see knocking on your door. How does that system work when you get introduced to them and you qualify them for being a resident?
That is typical. Most of our residents make less than $1,000 a month income. And they're referred to us by sometimes the hospital discharging someone that has no place to go, or other homeless shelters in the area that do a wonderful job housing people on a temporary basis, daytime only. And they'll call us if they have someone that they think is a good fit for us. Some of the referrals come from Adult Protective Services and from some of the local churches who know who we are. So the first step usually is for I meet with them with my manager, Lois, to do a face-to-face interview and answer their questions, ask them to answer a few of our questions, see if we think it would be a good fit physically and emotionally. They have to be able to live safely in an independent facility. We provide no medical care of any type.
Okay.
So there's some we cannot accept because their medical needs are beyond what we could offer safely for them. For those, we try to find other options for them, which is hard, but we try to do that if we can't bring them in. And that's usually followed up with a background check, calling references, and a second interview. And then they join us on a trial basis to see if it's a good fit for them and for us. The residents that have income, most of them do from Social Security. Some are not quite that age yet. Most of them do. They pay a little bit of rent. And that's kind of a unique model in that we don't need quite as much in donations as some shelters that rely completely on donations, but their rents only cover barely a third of our bills. The rest come from donations to our 501c3 nonprofit.
So two-thirds of the financial need for House of Hope 316 comes in from financial donations. 1/3 comes from the residents themselves.
Right. When we started in 2019, we had 5 residents and their rents covered about 75% of our bills. We had a monthly shortage of about $1,500 a month that would come from donations. Now with 24 residents, we have a shortage of about $17,000 a month that needs to come from donations.
Wow,
to make up the difference. And every month, God sends it from somewhere.
Wow. That's amazing. And Bert, tell me a little bit, do you have, it's been 5 years roughly that you've started this program and you're full. You're into 3 homes. You're started to purchase your first home. You got your first home purchased, and I think that's a really strong position to be in because you're in control of that destiny as opposed to being a renter. And blessings to those that are renting to you and House of Hope to 316 to allow you to run the program. Do you have a waiting list? What's the need beyond who you're servicing?
We do have a waiting list, and some weeks I receive 5 to 10 calls a week of people that are losing their housing and don't know where to go. And sadly, we can't take them in right now. And so I believe there'll be a 4th home eventually when God brings that to us because the need is continuing to grow. The story of how we got this home when I began to pray about a home that we could own, I knew we didn't have the finances for it. We operate on a very tight budget, and I heard of a duplex that was up for sale. Met with the owners, asked if we could rent it. They said we couldn't. They had to sell it. When they heard what we were doing, they liked the idea of what we were doing, and they turned down a full price offer, and then later a price above what they were asking.
Wow!
To accept our offer, which was much less, so that we could use this for ministry. In fact, they when they called me back the next day, they said, "We want you to use this to house these people, and we will reduce our price below our asking." I didn't ask them for that. We know you don't even have enough money for the down payment, so we will let you pay that in installments over the next 18 months, and we'll hold the mortgage since you have no credit. We'd like for you to have this house.
Nice.
And
wow.
they remain a friend of the ministry, and that we just moved in several months ago.
Wow. What a great success story.
Yeah, it is, because of their generosity and wanting to help people that need help.
Yeah. And you've done an amazing job. I remember you and I meeting several years ago, and you had this idea of helping elderly people who find themselves homeless. And I remember we had lunch, and you were sharing your heart and telling me, there's a calling here, and I need to get started. And I listened, and it didn't fit for me perfectly at that time. But I'm just so impressed with how you stayed the course, and you stayed right true to your calling. And now you've got 3 homes and helping 24 people, residents right now today, and a mission to continue to find a 4th home. What a great testimonial and story, and we always get to hear our community is very generous, I think in general, and we do a lot for the children and the kids. But you're focused on elderly care, widows and widowers, and those who that don't have the money or the family resources or support to live in community. You're healthy, but really not employed. But you're a safety net for those group, and I'm sure the net needs to be much bigger. But wow, I'm impressed with your efforts.
Well, I remember our lunch that day, and you were very kind and had some ideas, and I really appreciated it for one primary reason. Most people in my support group around me, after they heard the idea, they said, "That makes no sense at all. You need to drop that and go do something else." And so there wasn't a lot of. It made no sense logically, but there was a need. And then a lot of people joined me, a lot of good people joined me. The team of volunteers continues to grow. So I'm really a very small part of this. The big part of the people who helped me make this happen. And the biggest part is God, who sees people in need and wants them to be helped, and he makes it happen.
Wonderful. Bert, we're part of 100 Men Who Care.
Yes.
And we're an organization. We're not a nonprofit like you are. We don't have a group of constituencies that we're serving other than groups and organizations like yourself. How can we help you if someone wants to volunteer or render some talent? What are some of the ways that they can get in touch with you, and some of the positions or services that you might need that maybe somebody from 100 Men might have that talent and wants to bring it to support you?
Several things. Obviously, we have a financial need every month, and also a need for volunteers, some for drivers. We provide transportation to and from doctor's appointments with our team of volunteer drivers. We prepare and serve all the meals and do the cleaning and the laundry at the houses with our limited paid staff, who are all part-time minimum wage, and our residents who volunteer their time to help. So there's room for volunteers, particularly in the area of preparing meals. And yard work needs to be done when the warmer weather comes. And it sounds like a trite answer, but it's really not. Our greatest need is prayer.
Prayer. Well, wonderful. And as 100 Men, our mission is to make sure that that we're supporting those in community like yourself make a difference. And your organization, standing in the gap of the wall for others in need. What a tremendous story. If you were to be the recipient of House of Hope 316 was the recipient of a 100 Men Who Care event that we're having this February on the 22nd, what kind of difference would that make for you?
It would make a big difference, obviously. when I said we're making the down payment on the house we're purchasing in installments, the next installment is up in April, and we don't quite have that yet. We will. We don't know where it's coming from yet. I'm sure it'll be there. Probably not. Shouldn't say this. I would probably share part of it with the others that are telling their story, because we're all in this together, and we're all a team serving different areas that we've been called to serve in. And we couldn't do it without each other. So I'm not sure if that's allowed, but that would be part of what I would do without telling anybody.
There are no rules here. It's all about giving. It's all about making a difference. And being here today really helps our organization, our group of men, it's a calling to say, how can we step up and make a difference? And we're all busy in our lives, and we're all doing things that with our families. But there are many quality organizations in our community that fill that gap and that need of our community. If we have a strong community, then we're all stronger in our lives together. So I think this organization, as 100 men, our goal and mission is to serve those who are really stepping up and making a difference in community. So thank you for doing that, Bert. We appreciate it very much. Any closing thoughts?
Just I applaud your efforts. There's a number of people in the community that have the ability to help, but they're all busy. We're all busy with things. We have other places we can put our money, and wanting to take time and finances to help other groups do what is necessary for the betterment of the community is something not everybody would do. So I thank you for what you're doing. And I would say if anybody wants to contact us, Facebook, it would be a good way, which is, I don't do Facebook much, but my assistant does. It is House of Hope 316 AZ is the Facebook location. And our website is actually our 501c3 nonprofit is called H10 Ministries. House of Hope is simply the name of the ministry here in Yavapai County. Mm-hmm. And it's a part of H10 Ministry. That's capital H, the number 10, ministries with an IES.com. H10ministries.com is the website that would tell more and have opportunities to help.
Bert, thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing from your heart and for doing everything that you do and making a difference in our community.
Thank you, Ron.
For more information about 100 Men, go to our website, 100menwhocareyc.com. We look forward to seeing you at the next event.